Call meeting order and ask for a roll call.
Junior? Here. Hilliard?
Here.
Leach?
Here.
Memo? Here. Newman?
Here.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We don't have to read the totality.
Okay. We do have a public hearing here we'll open up with, and I'll let Pat talk about that in a moment.
So the public hearing is being held pursuant to the Truth and Taxation Law in the event the village's levy request exceeds a 5% increase over the prior year's total extension. Then the village is required to provide notice and convene a public hearing to provide the public an opportunity to comment before adoption of the tax levy ordinance on the proposed tax levy. The tax levy remains within the limits set forth by the property tax extension limitation law. The increase of greater than 5% is driven largely by a substantial increase in our equalized assessed value within the village. So now would be the appropriate time if public had comment regarding the tax levy ordinance, provide that before Your Honor closes the hearing.
Okay. Would anybody like to speak on that? Any trustee? We'll close that public hearing. Public comments. Anybody like to talk about anything else? Okay, the consent agenda tonight is the approval of the minutes of the regular meeting of December 2nd, 2024, and the approval of the bills. Do we get a motion?
Move to approve. Second.
Any questions? Call the roll.
Junior? Yes. Hilliard?
Yes.
Leach?
Yes.
Memo?
Yes.
Newman?
Yes.
Motion carries.
I have nothing tonight. Village clerk.
Nothing tonight, Your Honor.
Village administrator.
I have two items tonight, Your Honor. The first of which is ordinance 25-13, which is an ordinance for the levy and assessment of taxes for the fiscal year beginning May 1, 2024, and ending April 30th, 2025.
We have a motion.
Motion to approve ordinance 25-13. Second.
Basically, this, as Pat stated, this is a over 5% increase, a total levy of $2,825,000.
Any questions from the board? Not, call the roll.
Newman?
Yes.
Memo?
Yes.
Leach?
Yes.
Hilliard?
Yes.
Junior? Yes. Motion carried.
The second item I have tonight is a recommendation from the Business District Commission for two different businesses. The first of which is Peoria Ice Cream Company for 127 East Ashland. Total project cost of $32,675. The Business District Commission recommends a grant of $10,000. Their project is an interstate pylon sign for Dairy Queen. And the second is Titan Fitness of Morton, which is at 1630 North Main. Their total project cost is $21,885, which the recommended grant is $10,000 to replace exterior signage and paint the exterior of the building.
We get a motion.
Move to approve both. Second.
Any questions?
Just Stephen, sorry, Ken, Titan Fitness is Gold's Gym location. I don't know if you knew that. That's Titan Fitness has bought it. They're changing some things over.
Just clarification, for the, well, I'll call it Dairy Queen, that's new construction. Now, I know it's probably an old sign, post or whatever. So, do we normally fund building improvement for new construction? Like a total new?
We wouldn't the actual building itself, but they will the signage.
Okay, so it's really the signage then?
Right. That's all they're applying for is $32,000 is to paint the existing pylon pole and to replace the base of the sign that's currently was there when it was Ruby Tuesdays. They're just using that same frame and everything.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Call the roll.
Leach?
Yes.
Junior? Yes. Hilliard?
Yes.
Newman?
Yes.
Memo?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Chief of Police,
Nothing tonight, Your Honor.
Corporation Counsel,
Nothing tonight, Your Honor.
Director of Fire and Emergencies.
I have one item tonight, Your Honor. It's resolution number 28-25. It's a resolution modifying the staffing model for the full-time fire department.
We could have a motion.
Motion to approve Resolution 28-25. Second.
This is a modification to our previous approved staffing model, what we approved back in May, where we initially wanted to hire 5 full-time firefighters for a day shift. We're now requesting to hire one more for a 24, 48-hour shift. Moving forward, they'll be staffed 7 days a week with 2 individuals each shift, each day. If there's any questions, I'd be glad to answer them.
Any questions? All right, call the roll.
Mennel?
Yes.
Newman?
Yes.
Blunier? Yes. Leach?
Yes.
Hilliard?
Yes.
Motion carried.
That's all.
That's all, thank you.
Director of Public Works.
Several items tonight, Your Honor. The first 4, A, B, C, and D, before requesting a motion, I would like to read them all together, if that's all right, council. These are all contingent on each other, so if we were to vote it down, I would vote them all down, or vice versa. So A is a resolution approving easement with Alice Hill, the Marion Albright Living Trust, and the Shirley Shink Revocable Trust in the amount of $8,320. B, resolution approving easement with Albright Properties, 1, in the amount of $15,287.50. Item C, a resolution authorizing acceptance of right-of-way dedication from Albright Properties for the Queenwood Road gas line in the amount of $10 or donation. And item D, ordinance authorizing purchase of real property owned by Albright Properties located off Queenwood Road in the amount of $33,000.
Motion to approve.
Second.
You want to further explain?
Yeah, so I put a drawing in front of each of you that should be a little easier to read. This has been in the works for, better part of a decade. We still do not have an agreement with Ameren and Panhandle yet. We were working towards that, but this was probably the biggest thing to get out of the way. So this is acquiring a 15-foot wide easement on the north side of Queenwood Road from our gas main at 155 in Queenwood to run to the west over 4,000 feet to some property there. That property is about a half an acre, 50-foot wide, and that would be the location where we would eventually tie in to Ameren's gas main to hopefully provide in the future, a backdoor feed, so that in the event of emergencies or planned work on our 8-inch feeder line, this would assist us. Now I would caution, we work through numbers, this wouldn't be to feed the entire town, so there would be some work going forward. Obviously the goal in emergencies is to keep people warm, so if we ever had to use this in the winter or something, there still would be other issues related to that. But I think this is something, again, we're hopeful in the next year we can finalize everything with Ameren and Panhandle, just because of the work we've done. But worst case, we'll just keep working towards that. I still think this is a good thing to work towards in the future. So with that, I'd be glad to answer any questions. I know Pat's worked on it for quite some time, and I appreciate his time and effort on it.
We've been at it for 2 years,
A long time.
so it's nice to have it come together tonight. Is there any questions?
Ameren's pipeline there is what size?
I believe that's 6-inch, I believe, that runs through there, and then ours is 6-inch. So there will be some limitations on capacity. I know Scott's worked with their engineers on, what would be available at certain times of the month. And hopefully we never have to use it. I could envision us using it more towards if we ever have to do work on our feeder line in the summer or something like that, and be able to really keep industry and those things going. That's the unfortunate with what we have. It's one way in on our gas.
And the, agreement with Ameren is going to be contingent upon an agreement with Panhandle?
Both of us want to make sure Panhandle's good, and we've talked to them. We've had meetings with Panhandle. Obviously, their fear is, they provide us, and we have a small customer agreement with them to get gas from them. So Ameren has a pipeline west, about 6 miles west of here too, that runs parallel to Panhandle. So obviously, we have got an agreement with Panhandle. There obviously could be some fears that we flip over and receive gas from Ameren's pipeline. So we do have an agreement with Panhandle and still have to take their gas. We just want to clear up any issues and work out those procedures when we do turn the valve, that all parties understand what's going on. Again, hopefully it's never used. That's the goal.
And the reason for the, I guess that half acre right-of-way of being that size, I assume there's some kind of regulate or station or something that's gonna be necessary there.
Exactly, yes. And we've budgeted some money the last couple of years to the tune of $500,000 to build facilities there, pay for Ameren to build their facility and for us to connect to that, to be able to basically tie into their facilities.
And lastly, the right-of-way that's being dedicated, I assume that's the existing roadway, basically, that's there by use?
Exactly, that's the 25-foot, the north half of that takes care of the underground portion of that. Yep.
Thank you.
Yep.
Any others? If not, call the roll.
Blunier? Yes. Hilliard?
Yes.
Leach?
Yes.
Mennel?
Yes.
Newman?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Next is item E. I'd like to ask for acceptance of both alternate bid 1 and alternate bid 2 for the 2024 aggregate recycling project in the amount of $743,750 and award of contract for same to Gensini Excavating Incorporated.
Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Originally budgeted $250,000 for this, and we were only going to crush enough to, use on the Flint and Erie project along with our operations next year. In talking to contractors and looking at budget, Flint and Erie being pushed, we do have some money that we budgeted for those projects, and a big chunk of this material will go towards those projects. So I would like to move forward with this. I sent all of you an email. I know it's a lot to ask. I truly believe there's a significant savings here, and we intend to use this material, in our contracted projects, and then also, in our operations. It is also better material too than your normal brown CA6. So anyway, in our talking with contractors, while you're set up to crush, you're going to get your best price if we just crush, what's out there. So we're hoping to crush about 50,000 tons of material. That would start probably February 1, be finished by May 1, and then quickly start using it on our projects. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Just curious, how many proposals were taken out, I guess?
So this was 2 proposals. We had a lot of discussions with a lot of contractors. If you remember, we solicited and got 1 previously. So 2, there was quite a few interested in it. I'm not sure exactly why they didn't bid, because some showed interest right up until the end. So we did feel good about the 2, Jimax and Gensini, who bought out Iron Hustler and the name. Felt like he was really in the game. Obviously, we crunched the numbers here. There's a point where some of these costs don't make sense, and we wouldn't even want to crush it. We want it to make sense, so we knew where the numbers needed to be. But only 2. We had hoped for more, but only 2.
Did Knapp do it last time?
Yes, they did it last time. And we have called all of them, Jamie and myself. So Knapp chooses to crush their own right now. I'll be honest, it seemed like they had some issues. It's not easy to put this equipment for some of these contractors on the road. So I know they ran into some issues with permitting and decided it was just safe to stay home. But all the other ones expressed interest. Cullinan's getting into this, Stark, River City Demo. They did not bid it at this time.
Any other questions? If not, call the roll.
Mennel?
Yes.
Leach?
Yes.
Blunier? Yes. Newman?
Yes.
Hilliard?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Lastly is item F, this is an ordinance making amendments to Title 8 of the Morton Municipal Code regarding state mandated water sampling.
We could have a motion?
Second?
Yeah, so this is in regard to our IEPA required lead and copper sampling. I had worked with Trent and Pat. Obviously, the fear every year, especially when we got to get 60, it used to be 30, but it's been 60, and it'll be 60 the next 6 months too. And I did put a list of the 60 that we have right now. We're coming to a point where there's really no more additions to these. We aren't able to go to tier 5, and we really sit in a tier 3, which is galvanized required replacement, and tier 4, which is copper with lead solder. These are the ones where we have to come up with a list to test for lead and copper. So we spend an exhaustive effort to basically contact people, leave them a bottle, and get sampling. The problem is we're always left with a couple every time. EPA is no mercy, figure out how to get it done. So in talking to Pat, we discussed basically us sending them a letter at 30 days, shutting their water off, and eventually, I know it seems a little heavy-handed, but we're really left with no other option. If we can't get this done, it's us getting with Pat and basically doing a search warrant to be able to go in their house to get the sample. So unfortunately, if you land on the 60, it probably stinks for you, but it does affect the entire community and potentially future fines if we don't get them. So we'd like to leave this as an option to be able to get those last few sites. So right now, we've got 2 left. I've highlighted those. We're going to keep working and working. Obviously, we don't want to take the time to use that effort either, but we just feel like we're up against a wall right now, and I'd like to get, if I get to the last month, be able to call Pat and be like, Pat, we need your help. And that would be bringing an officer and somebody to a house. Again, I know it's heavy-handed, but to get, a fine from somebody, the EPA is, I don't think that's the option we want to go down. So with that, be glad to answer any questions.
Any questions?
The sites that are selected, you have to stay with those sites throughout how long of a period is that? How many years?
Well, we got, I don't know how long, as far as the list is saying, those have kind of changed over time to the point where now we've exhausted all of our tier 4. So I think we're kind of stuck with these 60. It's just kind of a unique thing with the sites that we have in Morton, where we don't have a lot that fall into the categories of tier 1 through tier 4. Hopefully we get back to where we're doing 30 again, which is normal, but I will say I just got a letter into November for another 60. So I think these sites will stay the same for quite some time.
So what you're saying is you don't really have a lot of option for sites.
This is it, and then that's what the EPA is telling us, figure it out. Just get them, do whatever you need as a community.
So if you get a few people that don't want to cooperate, we're in trouble.
We're kind of stuck, and getting 58 out of 60 is not an option to the EPA. So that's where I appreciate Pat, I know worked for other communities too. So when I called him, he's like, I know the issue already, so.
Is number 14 one that we've had issues with zoning?
I think that's been that's been a tough one, And some of these are vacant too, so that's the hard one with these too.
That would
So,
be with that one.
yes, that would allow us to get in there too when it's vacant, to do a search warrant. So.
Have you been told there'll be a search warrant soon?
Not yet, but you're gonna approve that tonight. That's my
Okay.
hope. And hopefully we don't get to that. Hopefully we don't get to that.
That would send the signal, just how important this is.
And the first one is to shut their water off after we send a letter, and we're still gonna communicate with them. We don't wanna go that, I don't wanna shut their water off for this either. But at 30 days, it'll leave us the option to shut their water off. At that point, at least we'll get a phone call, and then, hey, can I drop off a bottle and get a sample from you? Should be fairly easy to get that done. So I would hope we don't have to go that route unless it's a vacancy or something like that, which we're gonna be impossible anyway.
What's involved in getting a sample?
Basically, calling them, dropping a bottle off to their house, and the goal is, obviously, EPA wants to get a first draw, so first thing in the morning, they take a sample in a bottle and call us, and we come pick it up. And then we give you $20, I think it is, on their, we'll give them a $20 credit on their utility bill too. We passed that recently. So very simple.
And you can't draw it out of the silver.
No.
Where's it come from?
Well, it's got to be inside the house at that, I mean, usually it's the kitchen or, you know, that first location and first draw while it's been sitting in there all night. So usually your silcock or whatever outside might be, it really needs to be that first, you know, first one where it comes in the house, as opposed to circling through all your plumbing and out the back. I wish that was an option.
Any other questions? Call the roll.
Blunier? Yes. Hilliard?
Yes.
Leach?
Yes.
Mennel?
Yes.
Newman?
Yes.
Motion carries.
That's all I have tonight, Your Honor.
Zoning and code enforcement?
Nothing tonight, Your Honor.
All right. Village trustees, anybody have anything tonight?
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Well, how about if we have a motion to go to Merry Christmas?
I'd make that, Mr. Honor.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much.